Steelers Nation, don't you just love the offseason where news is speculating everywhere and everyone's saying that the Steelers are interested in this guy and that they're going to go grab this guy and that they're going to trade this guy and everything's going around, getting your head spinning.
Everybody's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Yeah, in fact, most of this is...
The Steelers are interested in everybody on the trade block and free agency and the drafts. No shit.
Most of this is exhausting, as a matter of fact. But what's most crazy right now, what's going on most whirlwind right now around social media or around numerous reports is involving Justin Fields still, and just recently the rumor or the quote-unquote report from Tony Pauline of Sportskeeda that says that the Steelers could be in the wake for trading Diontae Johnson if the price is right. Interesting. Very interesting. We got a little bit to discuss today as the new league year is literally a week away. It's right around the corner.
Yep.
And thus we can finally get some answers to some of these questions in these reports that are just, at this point, man, it's just
all over the place.
It is.
That's what it is. On social media, all over the league, the NFL, it's just all over the place.
Yes. So we don't have any answers. It's just something we can talk about. It's something we can discuss as, it's starting to get very interesting and starting to get really close for a lot of these reports coming up as the new league year is right around the corner. Let's start with Justin Fields. Before the offseason even hit, there was many fans, many reports, many people out there that were suggesting the Steelers should go out and trade for Justin Fields. They should go out and grab Justin Fields for quarterback competition with Kenny Pickett or for him to be the quarterback for the future in many people's eyes. The thing is with Justin Fields is it doesn't look like Chicago has much of as a market as they thought they would with Justin Fields, because the truth is they have no leverage. They really don't. They have the number 1 overall pick, right? So why should teams feel pressured? Why should teams feel crazy enough to trade such massive compensation for Justin Fields, knowing that, hey, we're going to trade this guy who we don't want anymore just to draft his replacement number 1 overall? Why should teams trade so much for that? Why? If the Bears are so hell-bent on drafting his replacement, why would the team throw so much at him? Makes no sense.
Right.
So perhaps all these teams that are asking around and the Bears are throwing in their opening bids, right? Maybe their offer, maybe their options just aren't as high as they thought they were. They didn't think his value was as high as they thought it was.
Yeah, I mean, listen, going from Justin Fields, who's a semi-established quarterback in the NFL, to Caleb Williams, who, quite honestly, I don't see much in. I don't really see.
He's an unknown.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he is. He's an unknown. He's a big risk when it comes to Chicago and their quarterback cemetery over there. But if they were to move on from Justin Fields, they're going to want something big, some major capital in return to go with that risk of going with Williams, but no team's going to give that up for a semi-established quarterback, despite the potential and the development that he's still under as a passer in the league.
Correct.
We know the type of athlete in the highlight reel he has shown here and there. It's just the inconsistencies, the turnovers, and just the problems that he still has to work out as an NFL quarterback.
And the underwhelming production in Chicago, granted, yes, Chicago is the dumpster fire of the NFL for quarterbacks. It's the quarterback cemetery of the NFL. So, yes, I get he didn't have the greatest supporting cast with him in Chicago. No quarterback ever does in that organization, right? But it is still concerning when you see how he processes the field, his turnovers, his lack of production in the games he's played. It's not worth what the Bears think that he is worth. It's not.
Yeah.
And if the Steelers want to trade for him, we are still all in for it because it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot. And if the Steelers trade for him, they don't have to pick up his fifth-year option. They can literally create a competition. They could deny his fifth-year option, create the Justin Fields versus Kenny Pickett quarterback competition in training camp, and legitimately see if they have a guy in Justin Fields. But they should not trade anything crazy enough because, truthfully, it might not work out. It might not be what they think it might be.
Yeah.
Truthfully, it might just be another rental at this point. It might be another bridge at this point, man, because I'm gonna tell you guys my honest opinions about the Steelers bringing in Justin Fields. I don't think he's the answer. I don't think he's the future. I don't. I think he's solid. I think he's exciting. I think he has some dynamic to him. But I don't think that he is the future for any franchise in the NFL. I think he's a very good borderline starter in the NFL, but I don't think he's going to reach that next level like a lot of people thought he would coming out of the Ohio State.
Yeah, us included. Him coming out of Ohio State from the college level, we thought that this guy had the talent to be semi-generational, to be electric.
I thought he was the best quarterback in that draft class. I'll be real with you.
And he clearly hasn't shown that at the NFL level.
No.
He's semi-established again. He's a highlight reel. We've seen the type of plays that he's been able to make on his feet and with his arm to some degree.
And is he better than what we have? I would say so, yes. Is he better than Mason? Maybe that's a bit of a reach because Mason is easily far and away our best passer on the team. He's the best quarterback. And when I mean quarterback, I mean legitimate quarterback on this roster, but there's no guarantee.
Not at the moment because, I mean, he's a free agent. We haven't signed him yet. It's only Kenny Pickett, which means technically Pickett's the best guy we have.
So with that, oh, God.
I'm sorry.
So with that being said, if the Steelers want to trade for Justin Fields, go for it. It's worth a shot.
What it would show, I just want to throw this out there. What it would show if the Steelers were to make the move for Justin Fields were to show that they take their statement about Kenny Pickett and him having competition legitimately, seriously. It would show the NFL and show us Steelers fans that the Steelers are looking at the quarterback position at a serious point.
Rather than our own fears that they'll just go get like a Ryan Tannehill or someone less than that and consider that competition.
Or go with Kenny Pickett, to which that's being reported, which is no surprise to me and Dan here. Apparently it's being reported that the Steelers are looking to build around Kenny Pickett and go with Kenny Pickett. There's so many conflicting
reports with everything, I don't know what to believe. So the only thing I can believe is my own personal opinions and what I have listened to from Khan, from Tomlin, from Rooney, from everybody, which is they have made their semi-commitments to Kenny Pickett, and he will be the starter. He will get a chance to compete. But I think we all agree that competition needs to be legitimate competition, whether that is Mason, and I'd even throw Fields into that category, as long as the price is right. They cannot overpay for Justin Fields. They cannot let the Bears pressure them into trading something high for Justin Fields. Not a second rounder, not a second rounder next year. I wouldn't even say a third rounder. Maybe a conditional third-round pick. Maybe a fourth-round pick that could turn into a third-round pick.
If the Bears settle for that, if they want to settle for that.
They might.
To which, at this point, if they do want to go with Caleb Williams, number 1 overall, they may have to settle with it. They may have no choice if they really want to go with Caleb.
Well, let's talk about Justin Fields' market right now, a week before the new league year. Let's talk about his market right now. We're talking the Steelers, because Khan did admit in his interviews
at the combine,
he did admit with a smirk on his face, yeah, we've had conversations, we've had talks, but I can't get into detail. So they have had discussions. He admitted it. It's just a matter of if they can actually get a deal done or if they can figure out all that information. It depends on what other offers the Bears get, right? So the Steelers, Falcons.
The Falcons are no surprise. They apparently are the runner-up. But now going around social media is that they are trying to pursue aggressively Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
They are looking for Kirk Cousins, so they may not be in that Justin Fields boat at the moment. But again, it's a rumor. Rumors are going crazy right now. Keep in mind, it's just a rumor.
Kirk Cousins could go anywhere.
He really could. It's his decision.
He can go back to the Vikings. He can go to the Raiders. He can go to Atlanta. He's definitely not coming to the Steelers. So to all those Kirk Cousins guys that are hopeful for that, it's not happening.
No.
I have some bad news for you. It's just not going to happen. He can go anywhere. But in regards to Justin Fields, all the teams that we've mentioned, Steelers, Atlanta, Vegas, Minnesota maybe could be in the running for that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's most likely going to come down to just only Pittsburgh and Atlanta. And if Atlanta is going to sign a quarterback, it appears to me that the Steelers will be the front runner for Justin Fields in those trade talks. And they just might be the only team in that trade talk discussion.
Yeah.
Maybe all these other teams back out. Well, you know what? We don't want this guy.
Possibly.
Tomlin, Khan, Rooney, he's all yours if you want him.
That's the thing. It's a matter if they do want to go for it.
If that's the case, if the Steelers are the only team to discuss with the Bears about a Justin Fields rumor, the Steelers have all the leverage in the world. It's like, hey, this is your last option. This is your last bet. Either you take our offer or you keep Fields. And it's the Bears' decision to make a choice.
Yeah.
It's very possible it could come down to that. And if that's the case, then I have a good feeling Fields might be a Steeler, but we don't know if that's exactly how that's going to go down. It's just a very, very likely option. But as long as the Steelers don't overpay for Fields, as long as they don't trade anything crazy away for Fields, I'm for it. It's worth a shot, as long as it's not a day 2 pick. Maybe a borderline day 2 pick.
Right.
So just going to throw it out there. Steelers have 2 4th-rounders. They could throw one in there. Maybe they throw a player in there just to sweeten the deal. Maybe they throw in next year's capital. I don't know. But
I don't know what they do. They do have a lot to consider, considering where their commitment is for Pickett. You know, how much Khan and company have preached about wanting to bring Mason back, how they've been talking throughout the offseason.
That's the thing, too. I would much rather focus on bringing Mason back first.
Quite honestly, I think he's the better option. I think, in my honest opinion, he's the best option that we have when it comes to what the Steelers are looking for.
Yeah.
Is retaining Mason, giving him the shot, giving him the year. Because we already know what to expect from Pickett. Fields brings excitement. He brings, a lot on the table, but not all of it is good.
No.
It's his inconsistencies as a overall player, especially a passer, and his turnovers worry the living crap out of me.
Especially with this O-line still being an issue.
And listen, the quarterback play last year was very terrible. It was bad. But the one thing that they did not do for the most part was turn the ball over.
Unless outside of Mitch Trubisky.
Outside of Mitch Trubisky. But everybody else was very safe with the football, whether they were scared to throw the football or whatever the case may have been. We didn't see a lot of turnovers at the quarterback position. I don't know if the Steelers are going to want to take that risk with how many turnovers Justin Fields already has in his young career.
True.
That he has already brought to Chicago.
Maybe the Steelers want to play it super safe, but under an Arthur Smith system, it could lead to some extra excitement if they bring in Fields. I got to admit, Fields under Arthur Smith in that system with that play action ability would be a little exciting to watch. I cannot lie. But again, it has to be under the right price. They cannot overpay for Fields.
I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it, again, as long as it's for the right price. They don't overpay. And it would just show, again, that the Steelers are truly aggressive and are taking the quarterback position seriously.
Yeah.
And they're taking the team seriously overall.
It could be one of those low-risk, high-reward sort of deals as long as they don't overpay it. If they trade a day 2 pick, I personally won't be a fan of it because we need as many top picks as we could use because we still have a lot of holes and we can't fix it all in free agency.
No, that's just not possible.
No matter how much cap we can recreate, we need as many picks as possible.
Yeah.
So if they want to throw in a day 3 flyer, if they want to throw in a pick and a player, maybe next year's capital, go for it. It's worth a shot. But they just cannot throw anything too crazy at the Bears for Fields. But I'm always open to it. But
and they shouldn't feel pressured either.
They shouldn't.
They should not feel pressured into trading for Fields.
No. Now, if they don't retain Mason, which I think they should prioritize first, do you think they feel pressured?
If they don't have Mason, I think they go with Kenny.
But they still need competition.
I feel like it would depend on the price. I feel like it would depend on what the Bears are looking for, what they want to give up, or what they're willing to accept, what the Steelers are willing to give up.
Yeah. They've had talks, man. Time will tell. Until a decision is made on Justin Fields' future with any team or the Bears themselves, this is all going to be speculation. This is all just going to be a wonderland of discussion in regards to this topic. But that's how we feel as we get closer into what could be a decision-making move regarding Justin Fields and his future in the NFL. But Steelers are the top pick. They've had discussions. Khan has admitted it. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. Now, let's get on to Diontae Johnson. For some reason, he's making the rounds in terms of trade talks, of trade discussions, that the Steelers are open to trading Diontae if the price is right. This is a report made by Tony Pollin of Sportskeeda. Now, think of him how you want. Think of his credibility how you want. from what I have read, for what I have seen all offseason, he just throws out speculation points that people are discussing, and he just throws something out to get people talking about it even more. I don't know if his sources, I don't know if his reports are really even true. I think what it appears to me is he sees what people are talking about and what people are hearing, and then throws nuggets to trying to add fuel to that fire and making it think something's actually happening. But I don't know if there's actually any credibility to his sources and to his reports. But there could be, because if you look what Steelers have been doing all combine week, they have talked to some of the top wide receivers in this year's draft class. And this year's draft class in the wide receiver group is deep.
It's loaded.
Very deep.
It's loaded.
So Diontae Johnson, let me find a report right here. Let me find a report from Tony Pollin. He puts, well, it's not, and I quote, well, it's not fair to say Johnson is on the trade block. Several people tell me the Steelers are open to moving the receiver if they receive fair compensation. So pretty much he's saying Diontae will be traded if the price is right, which, I mean, you could say that about any player. Any player can be traded if the price is right. Let's think about it.
Yeah.
You could trade Alex Highsmith if the price is right, if they wanted to. I'm just throwing a name out there. Anyone's up for trade if a team is going to get their right price for it.
Yeah.
I mean, Diontae Johnson and the trade rumors is something that's been discussed for, I feel like 2 years now. Like, he's always making the rounds in terms of the trade talks because of his contract negotiations that were happening before he got extended.
Yeah.
And now that's still happening again as he's entering his final year of his extension. Khan did admit in his combine interview that they have had conversations. He's not going to go into specifics, but he did admit that the Steelers and Johnson, I imagine Johnson's agent, have had conversations about an extension. Now, keep in mind, the Steelers don't typically finalize these extensions with their players until around training camp, right before preseason hits.
Yeah.
They've done it in years past with numerous players: Hayward, Minka, Watt, Boswell, Highsmith, and even Johnson the last time. They typically wait until right before preseason. So if they were to trade Diontae, I don't think it would be because of unagreed contract talks. I don't know how far they'd be at this point of the season, at this point of the year. I just don't get it. And I would imagine an extension is coming for Diontae to kind of cut his cap hit in half this year, as he's due almost $16 million in cap hit.
Yeah.
But also, I think the Steelers do want to keep Diontae around, because he is a serviceable receiver. Me personally, I don't think he's wide receiver 1 anymore. That's been taken over by George Pickens, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But he's still a very quality receiver. He has his errors. He has his just constant mental problems. You know, these issues with Diontae where he makes the greatest play in the world, then the next play he's just so he just can't get past those complicated issues he's always had in his
He's not exactly the most consistent wide receiver in the league. Obviously.
No.
He has his errors. He has his moments, obviously. He makes a great play, a great pass, yard after catch, a long touchdown when he finds the end zone eventually. And the next play, he'll run backwards, he'll drop a pass, he'll make a mistake, he'll turn over the ball. It's just something. It's always something with Diontae Johnson.
It is.
He's a very hot and cold type of player. But Johnson, especially when he came back from injury after the bye week last season, you know, when it came to me and Dan here, we found a newfound appreciation for Diontae Johnson as a player, as a target for the Steelers.
Right.
Because when he was in there, he actually showed, you know, the type of importance he has on the football field. Yeah, what he has for the overall offense.
Because despite what the offense went through, which was very terrible, it's been terrible for years. Despite what Diontae's went through, what the offenses went through, what the quarterback situations went through, which all of that in general has just been a collective mess for how many years now? I mean, I feel like he still had a decent year. Pickens had 1,000 yards. I mean, you know, Diontae is still a very quality football player. I feel like he's very trustworthy. I think the Steelers trust him. I think they appreciate him as a receiver, as a franchise guy.
The Steelers have shown more than enough that they have full confidence in Diontae Johnson.
Right. But I do think they should listen to offers, because I think they will be coming. I don't know if they'll take any seriously unless a team throws a really good offer at them where they're like, kind of can't pass on this one.
Yeah.
Because we've always been open to trading Diontae because I feel like we can get some good production or some good compensation out of him. But because of his production, despite the quarterback situation, despite how the receivers have been utilized and our poor scheme for years, I feel like Diontae can still make a splash on another team with a proper scheme, with a proper quarterback. Diontae has made it known that, he prefers Mason as the guy. I mean, a lot of people on this roster have mentioned that. They haven't outwardly said it, but you can just see on how they play on the football field when Mason's the guy. Everyone rallies behind him because, hey, this guy will help us get down the field. This guy will help us get
This guy will throw the ball. This guy will throw the ball. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The guy will throw the ball.
Like, we will eat with this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have to say it. You can just watch them on the football field.
Yeah, the vibe was entirely different when Mason was on the field. It's not hard to see.
Right. So, I mean, with Diontae, I doubt he gets traded.
Yeah, I don't believe he's actually on the trade block. And I don't think that's what this guy's saying. I don't think the Steelers will put him on the trade block.
No.
I do think that teams could offer compensation for Diontae if there's a serious team out there that is interested in him, if they are that desperate or that worthy of looking for a veteran and a capable wide receiver. Teams like the Chiefs, teams like the Panthers, the Bears possibly.
Yeah,
teams like them are going to be looking for a quality type of receiver.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll even throw in the Patriots.
The Patriots, absolutely.
Right. But I don't know if the Steelers would want to trade him within conference, especially the Chiefs. You don't want to put him with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
You just don't want to do that.
Yeah, that makes the most sense. Yeah, you're right.
You don't want to do that. I know L'Jarius Sneed is going to get the franchise tag, and he's going to be seeking a trade, and I get, like, the Steelers should absolutely be within that ballpark for L'Jarius Sneed. They're going to have to trade a top pick, and then they're going to have to give him top money, rightfully so. Right, that would fill a hole right there.
Yeah.
Trading Diontae would help leverage get L'Jarius Sneed just so that we won't have to trade too much compensation. But would you want to trade Diontae in the conference with the best quarterback in the league?
Yeah.
Probably not. It's probably not ideal. With the Bears, that might make a little more sense because the Bears need a number 2. Mooney's going to be a free agent, and they're probably going to go Caleb Williams round 1. So perhaps if they do trade Diontae Johnson, they shouldn't settle for no less than a second-round pick or for a player that could fill a gaping hole.
Yeah.
No matter what position.
And another thing to really consider as well is the cap space element when it comes to potentially trading Johnson. Because the Chiefs, they're trying to resign L'Jarius Sneed. They franchise tag him. They're trying to sign him long term, but they're trying to do the same thing for Chris Jones.
Yeah.
I don't exactly know how the Chiefs keep both with their cap space.
The cap
situation.
space is a myth at this point. It's a
with
myth.
the Chiefs, absolutely. But I believe the Bears are actually one of the top teams that are full of cap space, have a ton of cap space.
Yeah, absolutely.
So taking $16 million or whatever, or if they were to come to an agreement with the Steelers taking some of that cap hit and the Bears taking the rest, the Bears can cut some of that cap or take some of that cap for a Diontae trade just to get him on the team, to get a quality receiver, a good number 2 opposite of DJ Moore.
Right.
So the cap space element is something that you also have to consider too.
Sure, but I mean, not just that, but his contract. He's coming into the final year of his contract. How much could we actually get for a guy that's going to need an extension right after they trade him?
Yeah.
How much leverage do the Steelers have? Unless there is a team out there that really needs a good wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2 and would trade some decent compensation for him. I am absolutely willing to trade Diontae Johnson.
I've always been open about giving up Diontae Johnson.
I think some Steelers fans would agree that they'd be open to trading Diontae if the price is right. It would have to be certain and specific compensation. Otherwise, you might as well keep Diontae. You might as well extend him. But if they can't extend him, which I don't know why they couldn't. Again, they don't finalize extensions until training camp. Why would there be so much disagreement? Why would there be so much separation in between contract talks at this stage of the year?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get that. So if they can't extend him, yeah, trade him. But why couldn't they extend him? I don't understand why there would be a reason why they couldn't extend him at all. I'm sure Diontae would want to stay in Pittsburgh. The Steelers appreciate him. The Steelers would give him a decent extension. They're going to want to keep Diontae for the foreseeable future. Why would the Steelers not extend him?
Maybe
Unless, hey, they do get a good deal where Omar Khan just wants to make this a complete, I don't want to say overhaul, but trade away certain aspects of the team and try to fill them with his own ideas.
Could do that.
I don't know. They talked to some of the top receivers in this year's draft. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to go out and grab one. They're doing their due diligence just because
they always do. Every year they always do.
Just because they don't need a certain position or because they're not going to draft a guy doesn't mean they shouldn't just talk to him. They're going to do their due diligence.
Well, they're not going to. Why would you not look at them? These are some of the top wide receivers in this upcoming draft class. Some of these guys are going to be the top receivers in the NFL down the road. Why would the Steelers not look at them?
Yeah.
We're the Steelers and wide receivers.
Right.
Why would they at least not look at them? Take the time to talk to them.
And the Steelers they should not draft a receiver first round. That would be stupid. That's the least of their worries. Why would they take a receiver first round? It's not going to happen. But that doesn't mean they can't take a receiver second round or third round. They could very well take a receiver day 2. They have a thing for it. They could take one day 3. They have 2 fourth-rounders for it. Who knows? Maybe someone falls and they want to add extra depth. I don't know. And maybe keep this in mind. I'm just going to throw this out there. Allen Robinson's still on the roster.
Yeah, that's right, he is.
Because of his cap hit, you think that he'd be cut by now. You think they would have already made a decision. So I don't know if they're trying to restructure his deal. They obviously want to keep him around, but that's got to be under a lesser cap hit.
And Robinson's cap hit is $10 million.
Yeah,
I don't know how they restructure it. I don't know how they decrease that number. I don't know how Omar Khan does it. He's done it before. He's done it several times before he was our general manager.
Yeah.
So he may find a way. I just personally don't know how he does it. But I do believe that Khan and the Steelers want to keep Allen Robinson.
Absolutely. I just don't understand why they haven't made a move yet.
I don't know. They must still be discussing it.
I don't know, man. See, where there's fuel, or where there's smoke, there's fire. So maybe I'm looking too far into this, but perhaps maybe the reason they haven't made a move on Allen Robinson is because maybe they are entertaining offers for Diontae. I'm just going to throw it out there. Maybe I'm looking too far into it, but they haven't done anything about Allen Robinson's contract situation right now. We're still going to need to save a lot of cap space to sign some of these free agents back and make a couple splashes in free agency. I know we still got a week or so to do it, but, I mean, I figured they would have already done something by now. They've already cut some of our worst habits from last year.
Yeah, they trimmed some of the fat off the team.
Yeah, so
there's still some left over to do, of course. Kind of hoping that they kind of do it ASAP, of course, with the new league year just next week.
Right. But in conclusion with this Diontae Johnson talk, we doubt anything's going to happen. This has always been speculation for years now about him being a trade candidate because of contract talks or whatever, or just wide receiver behavior, whatever the hell agenda that the media wants to throw at you just to push this narrative that maybe Diontae is a trade candidate. It's one of those things where I'll believe it when I see it. But I can't exactly deny the idea of trading Diontae.
Right.
Because it is an entertaining one as long as they can get the proper compensation for him. If they can't, then yes, an extension should be due by training camp. We should all expect that. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. The question also lends with, if they trade him, who do they replace him with?
What, Diontae?
Yeah, I mean, they could easily draft a receiver.
We're the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I know, but I'm saying, I don't have a concern with it.
Yeah.
But
which is why I'm open to it. I'm open to Diontae being traded.
But it would open another hole on this team, and we already have so many. Think about it.
That's true. But who's to say when it comes to the free agent wire with wide receivers, who'd say that they don't look into there?
It's very possible.
Just to fill that hole.
It's very possible. You know, it does, when you look at it, it does kind of make sense for the Steelers to trade Diontae because he's in his final year. He doesn't exactly fit Arthur Smith's system.
Not exactly. When it comes to Smith's system, he doesn't run a lot of 11 personnel. He primarily uses 2 wide receivers, and when it comes to his scheme, which is run heavy, his receivers need a block. And let's be real, Diontae
isn't the best blocker.
He's not the biggest guy either.
No. And Allen Robinson can block. George Pickens, when he wants to, can block.
Yeah.
Diontae isn't the best in that category, but I don't think that's exactly a reason to trade him. I don't know.
Unless they can scheme out a way to utilize Johnson in that style. I don't know.
But with Omar Khan, anything's possible. he has already shown us, it didn't take long, but he's already shown us this is a new administration, this is a different tone in the front office, and that anything is possible. So I'll believe it when I see it, but I cannot deny the thought or the idea or the possibility of it. Could happen, could not happen. If it does happen, it needs to be for proper compensation. If not, then guess what? He's probably going to get an extension, and that's not a bad thing. It's not.
A short-term extension. Can't complain, can't hate it.
No. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where it'll be reported, it'll be rumored, quote unquote. I mean,
and that's what it'll be. It'll just be a rumor until it actually does happen, but we'll see.
And that's the offseason. It's full of rumors. It's full of nonsense that you might hear, but it gives us something to talk about until news actually happens. And maybe, who knows? Maybe it does happen. I don't know. We'll see what
Under
happens.
this new administration, anything's on the table, and that's what Omar Khan said.
Yep, absolutely.
Anything and everything is on the table. They're looking at every direction. That's what he's going to do.
Absolutely. So, with that being said, let's know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about this Justin Fields update with the Steelers? Do you think it's worth it to go get Justin Fields? What do you think about this Diontae Johnson trade rumor? Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it should happen? What do you think we can get out of him? Throw your ideas down in the comments below. Otherwise, we have another Steelers mock draft coming later this week, right before the new league year. And in next week's time, hopefully we got some answers for you guys for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hopefully the Steelers got some answers for us in terms of a lot of team needs and fixing those holes, man. It's going to be an exciting next couple weeks because who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what could change the landscape of the Pittsburgh Steelers? But we're all excited for it. So in a short period of time, we'll have a lot of answers.
Hey, man, clock is ticking.
It is, man. Otherwise, you guys enjoy the rest of your night. And see you in the next one. Here we go, Steelers.
As always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!